topic as key as this. The topic for tonight is constituting a formidable political force.
1212 Radio Culture. We are going live right now to the lecture. Please stand by.
He'll be introducing himself or telling us more about himself before
1212 Radio Culture. We are going live right now to the lecture.
But before he comes on board, I would like us to remind ourselves of the purpose of the Rastafari. Now, the purpose of this reasoning is to discuss, to consult, and act together in focused exchanges of ideas, thoughts, views, knowledge, to comment on specific problems and air considered views to best follow in dealing with the world, to come to terms with history, politics, economics, education, and etc., so that we don't repeat past errors. And instead of always trying to catch up with the world, the essence of this reasoning is to stimulate creative thinking. So like it said, iron sharpened iron. My Lord, my brother, my senior brother, their beloved, to receive to take the stage, introduce himself to us, and delve into the topic for tonight. So my Lord, their beloved,
Selassie, thank you very much. Can the IDM hear me? Hello? Thank you very much. Okay. My Lord, it looks like I may have to join from another line because we're also broadcasting at the same time, and it looks like the feed is coming back through the same system. My Lord, it looks like I may have to join from another line. So please give me just like 2 minutes. I'll log back in from another system so we can free this line up for the reasoning. Give thanks. So please give
the recording has stopped.
2 minutes.
Tell yourself that liberation. Who the driver, who the rider? Even peace and love could beef with the world, yeah. And if they took it out on each other, you know something wrong with understanding. Panic, frantics, antics, tactics, rebel in self-love. Ambition's famous, more of the same. 1600 stories, I get it. You want to belong, memories, nostalgia, childhood assumption, What's in your game? Johnny, headless one, no monarchy was your intellect. And fiscal's intelligence could protect moments of the history that we don't forget. Rastafari fill the people just with fresh connect. Is it starting to make some sense? Unexpected places sing to Lord, see high. How you remember this year's setbacks, liberation. How you tell yourself the comebacks, situation. At sunset, rising up, precision, transmitting energy, decision, transmitting a change. Childhood assumption, Buddha watching, Buddha's motto, a wisdom pot, and I say the spider. Headless one, no monarchy was their intellect. As if missiles intelligence could protect moments of the history that we don't forget. Rastafari fill the people chest with fresh connect. Is it starting to make some sense? Unexpected spaces in the lossy high.
Give thanks, brethren and sisters, empresses. We are also live on Radio Culture right now. Thank you very much. All right. So throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, and the silence of those who and the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to thrive. Kedemawi Haile Selassie is cited from an address in Addis Ababa, 1963. May the words of finite mouth and the meditations of finite heart be acceptable among the congregation of finite brethren and sistren. Selah. All right, so today, as has already been introduced, we will be examining the topic of constituting a political force as Rastafari. Now, before I start the lecture, I would like to make the quick note that a political force is markedly different from a political party. So let's all approach this lecture with that in mind. We're not talking about a political party. We're talking about a political force. And we'll get to explore that a little more as we go along. All right. So in today's world as Rastafari, what does politics and governance mean to I and I? It is important to set the parameters for this question in order for anything that I will say to make proper sense. However, this question has been dealt with to various degrees, even in our lectures in this series right here. So I will, instead of spending time on exploring it, give you my definition and the parameters within which I want to approach this topic. I and I, as a conscious Rastaman, whose primary goal is to see the total liberation of I and I people, cannot stand aloof and watch how, and just stand aloof and be unconcerned about how the continent is governed, the beloved continent on which I and I live and for which I and I are dedicated to the cause of. Also, It is time to move the fight from the peace-loving messages in reggae music, etc., to the more confronting those institutions which I and I have identified as Babylon or Babyrang. It is irresponsible to take on an apolitical stance as a freedom fighter while the individuals or institutions that continue to perpetuate the things that we fight against ride on a cakewalk to positions of authority to enact laws and craft policies to govern I. In other words, it is irresponsible, in my opinion, to show up at the Kumasi Sports Stadium when the match is at the Accra Sports Stadium. Why, for instance, do Rastafari have to let someone determine how I hold thy sacrament while we sit down and just wait for these laws to be made for us and still say, oh, we are apolitical, but we accept the results of the politics that others participating on I behalf? Why also while we sit down? Yes, all right. And so why also do we sit down like we don't care? Like, okay, it's okay to be just apolitical, as we put it. It's very common to find I taking that stance as, okay, politics as is practiced, and that's understandably so, because politics on the continent is practiced with such lack of conscience that I find ourselves feeling like we don't belong in that arena. But the thing is that that's where the game is played, so we have to show up there, and we'll explore that a little more, like I said, as we go along. Okay, with all the advancement that Rastafari has made over the decades, after persecution for many decades, after some of us transforming from children to parents, we have still and are still bringing up a generation who do not feel subservient to anyone because we taught them so. Unlike some of us or some of our parents' generation who taught us to be meek and mild, who taught us to go to Sunday school and sing, "Gentle Jesus, meek and mild." We are teaching our children to sing a more revolutionary tune. You hear our children singing, "Get up, stand up for your right," for instance. So obviously, we are bringing up a generation who are going to refuse to sit down for laws to be made for them, policies to be made without their involvement. Therefore, we should set the tone and make it easy for that generation to be able to participate fluently and flawlessly. So with that comes a new boldness to step out unapologetically and take up the responsibility like HIM did, like Marcus, the most honorable Mosiah Garvey did, like Yasantua and Queen Nzinga did. All the icons that represent I did not sit aloof and watch while things were done and imposed on them. They stood up and either resisted or participated in the process. I could go on and on about why it is important for I as Rastafari, not just to sit, not just to be visible, but also to be active and to be a formidable political player. We already have what it takes to do so. Let me also make a quick note of the fact that my lecture today is not a eureka piece. Today is not a eureka piece.
Hello, dear beloved. We're having problem with your audio.
Okay, what's
the feedback? Sorry, since you started, we couldn't hear anything from you.
That's why I was trying to sign in from a different
Father, what does Asata mean to you? The sister mean to you? Word was out about burnout. Before the statues toppling, cut talk, let's make up a level. Take a year. So the human homo sapien was the fabrication. Provide the righteous thing